Welcome back to the Rhode Show. This morning in the Buzz, oh yeah, it's a battle that every engaged couple pretty much ends up having, and here it is. Who the heck do we invite to our wedding? It can get ugly.
Exes?
Yes. Yes.
Exes?
So
off limits.
Yeah, off limits. So actually, I don't think some were off limits of mine, but back to that in a minute.
Mine either.
Some people like small ceremonies, others like extravagant parties, and of course, you really always have to consider the budget that's involved. So we wanted to find out how you decide who gets an invite. Take a look.
I think it all depends on your expenses. So the lower the cost, the more people you could invite. Obviously, if you're looking for a extravagant wedding and you're willing to pay, $1,000 a head, well, not quite that, but something more elaborate, then you have to cut it down a little. But it all depends on you and who you want to bring.
People that are closest to you. The smaller, the better.
What do you think?
I like the bigger.
Yeah, so you think everyone should be invited?
Sure. Yep.
Families, friends?
Family, friends, everyone that's close and you know.
I think it depends on the setting. If you're outside and you're on a beach, you can invite all the people you want because they're outside on a beach. If you want to do a little wedding intimate, you want to remember everybody that's there, that's the other choice.
Who do we invite and who do we not invite? That was a difficult battle. It was very hard for us to decide. Immediate family, we had to cut a few friends out, but other than that, mostly family.
All right, so we're going to talk about what we think is a good-sized wedding, but I have to tell you, I've been to a lot of weddings. You probably have too. I mean, there was a time where it was like, 8 weddings this summer.
Right.
It felt like every other weekend. But I think the happiest people have been those who just invited the people closest to them. They didn't make it some big, 350 plus, we're just going to invite everybody on our A list, B list, C list, and D list, keep it to the A and B list. That would be my advice anyway.
Yeah.
But
I've looked back at our video and some of the pictures from our wedding, and honestly, it was 10 years ago, and I look and I'm like, how the heck did that person get invited?
I know.
You don't even talk to them anymore. Like, you literally, you were friends with them at the time, and you invited them because you felt like you needed to invite them, and then honestly, there's probably, I think we had 125 people at our wedding.
It's a good sign.
You take half for family and close friends, but those other half,
they're like fringy.
who do I talk? I don't even talk to some of them anymore. It's interesting.
And I feel like a lot of times too, if you get stuck in that, well, if I invite this one, I got to invite that one, and then I have to invite this one, and so on and so forth, and then all of a sudden you're up to 300 people, and you're like, I don't even know half these people. I don't even talk to any of them.
I know.
And even when it comes to relatives, I love my family, close to my family, love my relatives, but then once you start getting into third
distant
cousins
and
eighth grandfather, I don't know what you
Eighth
want to
grandfather.
then there's
No, you know what I mean, because you get those people that are like, well, why aren't you inviting Aunt so-and-so?
Can't wait
I
to
know.
meet him.
I didn't even know I was related to them.
Yeah,
so
no,
why?
I get you.
It's all about, and you don't want to make it a selfish day, but it really is. It is your day,
Sure.
and you don't want to feel the pressure from, let's say, mom or dad to go, well, you really got to invite this person, and maybe you don't want to, and then there's going to be all this drama. Just, I think people just need to remember that at the heart of it, it's just about the bride and the groom, and it's their day.
And there's been times where I've had friends, college friends, or whatever, where I didn't get invited to their wedding, and I was a little bummed out about it. But
some people
now,
do. Oh, some people get
it
bitter.
gets But now it's funny because as you get older, you have friends and people that get married, and you're like, I hope they don't invite me.
I know. And you're like, oh, it costs this much for a sitter, this much for the gift. You're like, oh,
Or when
escape
you
that
do
one.
get invited, then you have that whole, they're single. Do I do a +1?
Yeah.
Do I do
Right.
a +1 for everyone? Because
No.
now that's double the amount of people, double the budget.
No?
You don't
like
do a
a lot of
+1 for everyone.
like just people
No,
flying
but
solo?
listen though, if somebody is dating someone, that's different. But I am a firm believer in why should I be paying for all these extra people that I don't even know? And let's face it, sometimes a +1 can end up dangerous. You
don't know who
need
that
a
one
date, and they
is.
bring some random guy who's like, whacking him back at the bar. It can be ugly +1.
We had a solo flyer that ended up with another solo flyer at ours, and it got dangerous. The wedding video of these two dancing, oh my goodness.
Scandalous.
Scandalous.
I think I saw that.
They were sweating. I'll stop right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was pretty scandalous.
I think we need to cut you off right there.
I think it's basically
+1s
debatable.
can actually prevent scandals sometimes, though.
Yeah, +1s can be bad though. I don't know what Courtney thinks about the +1. You just got married. How many +1s do you have at your wedding, Courtney?
Not too many. I'd say maybe 10 or less.
How many eighth grandfathers did you have?
7. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, I think there was like 2 or 4 or something like that. It's tough. And when you come from like a divided family like me, it's like I have 4 families now. So it is a lot of people and a lot of decisions. And our live bloggers and Facebook friends, it's generated a lot of comments this morning about what they went through or what they hope to do when they do go through tying the knot. So Joe says, I think the toughest part about the guest list is deciding how many guests will attend the wedding and then who will be disappointed for not getting an invite. And Colleen says, we had immediate family only at my daughter's wedding and ended up with a few angry people, but you do what you can afford, she said. Here's the poll right underneath the live blog. What's the toughest part about a wedding guest list? A, deciding who gets a +1. B, who to invite from the workplace. C, where to cut lists from family friends. Or D, deciding on the number of guests. I can't count how many comments we have on our Facebook page. It's probably upwards of 20. And Bill says the toughest part is invite people you love. He says, and everyone else can stay home. And Adam Blessing says having to invite family you never see or work people who you don't really want to is difficult. And Patricia said making sure all family and guests get along with the seating. She said, I have seen some terrible table sitting. So that is a tough one for sure. That takes multiple times. But we'll see what you guys all think about the guest list in about a half hour. For now, we're